I believe that one of the biggest failings of the current smart TV interfaces is the fact that the paradigm we're using today is very well suited for the smartphone or tablet metaphor, which is basically a lot of apps on a desktop effectively. And what a lot of the smart TV manufacturers have done is just literally taken that metaphor or mental model of working and putting it on the TV screen, and I don't think it's very appropriate for the TV screen. And the reason being is apps or services where you have to literally click on an app, go into the app, use the interface to search and browse for TV content that I want to watch. There's a lot of searching and browsing which equals hard work for people, and then when they've watched a piece of content they then have to go and find the next piece of content, or they dip into another app. And what this is actually doing is creating a very fractured, what I call a dip-in, dip-out experience for people, and it's the antithesis of what most people want when they watch TV at home, which is a much more seamless, relaxing, what we call lean-back consumption, where I'm not having to do the hard work basically. The technology or the software should be doing the hard work for people. The impact of the failings regarding what the viewers need is it's not very relaxing, basically. I think the metaphor used of apps on smartphones and tablets, again, is very good when you want to go in and do discrete things, like I might want to check the weather, or I might want to go and find a location on a map through an app. But when you're talking about the TV experience, we're used to a very continuous playback experience. So I sit down on my sofa, I turn the TV on, I expect to go through some channels, but basically the experience is being curated for people based on the time of day and also the day of the week, actually. And the content providers used to do that curation for us very, very well when they were traditional broadcast channels. But that curation is kind of being lost as I see it today. People are actually having to curate their own experiences, and I think the technology should actually be doing that for them. So we've been working on a concept recently as a way to address some of the issues that we see in the smart TV space by basically leveraging the technology we already have available and trying to put it in a way that basically helps people have a much more sit back and relaxed experience when they watch TV. So the first thing we've done is we're at a conference that talks about OTT a lot, over-the-top services, and actually what I think is really valuable is what I call over-the-very-top services, and these would be services that aggregate multiple content providers into one space. So an example of that to me is someone like YouView right now. So the service that we try to build allowed content to be pulled from live TV but also on-demand services like the BBC or other content providers, and it all sits in one interface. And then what we've done is we've linked people to profiles to allow a smarter recommendation engine to happen in the background. And what it does is, based on my profile but also based on the time of day and the day of the week, it tries to curate an ideal experience for me in what I call a continuous playback channel. So if I'm sitting in front of the TV, actually the TV also recognizes me on the sofa through face recognition, and immediately the app changes all the content, it rearranges itself automatically, so the content is specifically tailored to my taste and my profile. But what we've done is it also recognizes if someone else is sitting on the sofa with me, so if someone joins me, both of our profiles mash together, and basically the content for both that we both like appears in that one channel. And of course there are thematic channels that we've done, so you could have a travel channel or a thriller channel, like I love Danish thrillers, so that would be one channel for me. But again, it's being aggregated from multiple sources. And we think regarding what the viewer pays for, we believe that viewers of course should pay back to the content providers. You pay back for the stuff you watch, but we think that should be handled by the service or the aggregator in the background. So as a customer, I just receive one bill, but actually I'm still paying back, but it's done through micropayments just based on what I watch. So in my mind, the idea of this kind of large bundled cable subscription where I get access to 200 channels that I never watch, what we're saying is we think there's an opportunity to create a much more curated experience, so it's more relaxing, and also it pays back to the people who deserve to be paid back to. In the Digital Home Summit in June, I showed a live demo of it working. So we literally had a face recognition, recognizing myself, and the app was actually pulling up content from a database that we'd stored of the content I like. And likewise, when my colleague stepped in to view, the content was mashing up on our phones, and we could basically choose a channel that we both liked. So there's always a concern about privacy and losing control of your data when you deal. As soon as you mention the word personalization, then people get concerned about privacy. Of course, people, I think, are more flexible about signing in or allowing aggregation of my social network services to really kind of, in a way, track what I'm watching. But I mean, most of the services today, like BBC iPlayer or all the others, are using things like my viewing habits to understand then what to recommend to me. But those recommendations still come in as single little bite-sized chunks. There's never this continuous curated experience. So I think everyone should have the ability, of course, to turn off the recommendation engine if they don't want, and they can still go back to the traditional search and browse paradigm if they really want to, or they're trying to find a specific piece of content that's not maybe being recommended to them. So I think it should be a flexible system that accommodates both people who want to be highly targeted because they haven't got much time to search versus people who might want to do a much more browse and search activity because they have time on their hands maybe, or they don't want the system to know too much about them.